This is the Broadcasting Corporation of Biafra, BCB, bringing you news, cultural, and educational programs. This is BCB, the Broadcasting Corporation of Biafra.
Fellow Biafrans, this is Rosama. Good evening, hello, good afternoon, wherever you are. Today's program is part 2 of our earlier conversation with the leadership of the Biafra Provisional Government. In our program broadcast on March 27th, you heard us introduce the Biafra Charter and our hopes for Biafra. Members also addressed the relationship between the government in exile and Biafrans. In this program, today's program, we continue our conversation looking at how our people can be involved and addressing the topic of a Nigerian president of Igbo extraction. We hope you will listen patiently. Please join us. Thank you. We continue our program, part 2.
Brother Christian, you have your hand up. Please go.
Yes, thank you very much. And thanks, Broguchi, for those comments. And I just want to quickly add, there are institutions of government, and those institutions differentiate us from the pro-Biafra groups. The pro-Biafra groups, though, participate in one or two of those institutions. And that's how Biafrans are represented in their government. So those institutions, as spelled out in the charter, are the Executive Council, the People's Council. The People's Council or the People's Assembly is an aggregate council that brings representatives from every segment of the land into a council, where they, if you like, act as the lower legislative arm of the government. And then we have the Nation's Chamber, which is an upper legislative arm of the government, just like the Senate, where we have our elders, people with a lot of wisdom and knowledge and insight, to come in and play some oversight role into the activities, the overall projects that are going on within the restoration program. And then finally, we have the Judicial Council. So the council where our legal people come in and start to build those institutions of the judiciary that this government, that the country, when restored, will sit on. So these core institutions of government sets the provisional government apart from the pro-Biafra groups. Groups are organizations. People are free to form a group and express their wishes and their will and what they want to do. If they want to be free, if they want to exit from Nigeria, it is their right, and they can do that. So we have a provisional government that represents all of them with these institutions of government that will eventually, as we build those pillars, remember that there will be another transition when the nation is restored. So that at transition, we are not starting from scratch. Those paraphernalias and institutions of government are beginning to develop, through this provisional period into the interim period and then finally into nationhood, so that there is a process, and it leads us to, developing a well crafted, well-grounded government of the people of Biafra in the final analysis. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so it seems to me that we have some clarity now for those people who do not, know much about the Biafra Charter, the provisional government, the shadow government, the government in exile. There is a lot of information for you. And we have some clarity here right now on who we are. I'll take one more and then we'll move on to a question that has also come up, which is what and how, what would you suggest, or what would you like to see our people do to help us move forward? How can people get involved besides reading about the charter? Okay, so Brother Oluchi, you had your hand up. Go ahead. You can respond to this question, or perhaps you had something else to contribute.
Yes, I have, something to contribute to the last question, ongoing. And that's just to also support what the previous speakers have said, and to also add that, as long as life is concerned, as long as we are living beings, as long as we live in this environment, there are tested ways, there are systems of doing practically everything under the sun. And this idea coming from our people, and also with input from strategic segments of the international community and some other claims, where what we are talking about, a provisional government, a government in exile, where they have been, done and done successfully, with data. This is what we are, putting on the table for our people. So it's not just something, as I keep on saying, that just, is appearing from the vacuum. No, these are tested styles and systems. We can give thousands of examples where these things have been used successfully. In our own case, if we follow it the way we have stated it clearly in the charter, success will be ours sooner than later. And when we talked about various organizations vis-a-vis a provisional government, every organization has a place in this under the charter, no matter who they are or where they are coming from, as long as the goals and objectives are the same, which is the independence of the sovereign nation of Biafra. And so, the charter belongs to them, belongs to every person, and big enough, open enough to accommodate everyone. It does not stop you from what your organization stands for, how they are running their programs, and how they're going about it. But this charter, gives us that bigger umbrella, that bigger picture, and a stage by stage managed process on how we can get what we are looking for, which is our freedom. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, we are going to close this section. Just to wrap it up, and I hope that people understand that a government in exile is a government that is located, a government of a country that has found itself or located itself in another country, which is why it is in exile, with a hope that one day it will go back and reestablish itself, reclaim its country, reclaim its nation. So perhaps, PM, do you want to add to this, clarify it a little bit more? Because some people may not fully understand what a government in exile means. So please
Okay,
do
thank
that
you.
since, yes, please do that.
Just quickly, I think in previous broadcasts we've made some of this clear. And
Yes,
going
but in
from what
this now,
Mazoluchi said in the beginning, in what he said first, the government in exile is a continuum from in that it was already in existence in its home nation, and as a result of war, it fled its territory into um, a different territory. So in our case, when our leader left for Ivory Coast towards the end of the war, he went with him the core members of his cabinet. That was a demonstration that our government, did not die to the war. They were not all killed. So some documents were still taken away, and they still had the passports and other paraphernalia that they left. And that government briefly resided in Ivory Coast. And then he moved to Gaborone, I think the capital of Botswana. He situated there for a while, and then the leader and some of his cabinet moved over to the United States, and that government continued. So is the fact that even though we lost the war, our government did not die. And all over the world, whether you talk about Tibet or you talk about Poland during the Nazi occupation, or even France, when the Nazi occupied France, their government moved to England and stayed in exile until the Allies launched an attack and retook Paris and retook France, and then pushed the Nazi back. And then the government of France went back to Paris. Poland, their government stayed in the United States of America until the Nazis were removed from Poland, and they brought back their government back to Polish land. And there are so many examples like that. So our case is exactly the same. So our government has been in existence since 1960, 67, 68, and continues to exist up to this time. And we give credit to our leader, the late Odome Bojuku, for being part of reconstituting that government in exile in Washington, D.C., and opening Biafra House before he died. So that legacy continued, and it does two things for us. So there is a significance there because it gives to the whole world that symbolism. It's symbolic to the whole world that we still exist. Our government did not die. And one day it shall go home, and when the nation is restored. And secondly, it has become, like Roluti said, an overarching institution for the restoration, which everybody, individuals and groups alike, will have to key into, will need to key into. And we call on you, everyone listening today, to identify yourself. Let us pursue this with passion. Our thing is our thing. Our land is our land. Look at what is happening all over the world. Look at how Black people are treated in the Ukraine as refugees. How on earth are we not able to go back home, reclaim our land and rebuild it, regenerate it, and reintroduce the economic wonders of Michael Okpara and the rest in the 60s, and build a nation all of us will be proud of. This is a clarion call. If you're listening to this today, do not hesitate no more. Do not wait 1 minute longer. We call on you, anywhere you may be in this part of this world, whether you are a lawyer, an accountant, a project manager, you're in IT, you're a medical doctor, any sphere of life, We need to build that city set on a hill that cannot be hidden. The nation of Biafra needs to rise. The sun rises from the east, and that nation needs to rise. You need to rise and help make that nation rise, so that we can build a city we can all be proud of, and we can all go back to, and our children can go back to, and their children can go back to too. Please, if you listen to this program today, do not wait a moment longer. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You have linked us to the next issue that we need to address, and this is important. It's another important issue. Currently, people are talking about a Nigerian president of Igbo extraction. It's the new religion, or the new craze sweeping through Nigeria, and everybody is declaring themselves now as potential candidates. I have a question for my brothers here. You can state this as your personal position or the government's position, but this, we have to think about this. How do we contend with this particular issue? What is our position on this particular issue? Because it will have tremendous implications for the struggle to restore Biafra. I see Brother Oluchi's hand up. Are you ready to address this particular topic?
Not quite. That's the old hand I raised before.
Okay,
I
all
need to
right.
bring it down. Yeah, I'm trying to do it.
Okay, Nwa Biafra then, let's go with you first.
Thank you, moderator. And like you phrased it, this is a personal opinion. It doesn't represent anybody's or any group's opinion. The problem of Biafra is inclusion in Nigeria. The whole problem of Nigeria and the instability and all the lack of function, dysfunction going on is a structural problem. And even though nobody wants to look at it again, but that problem remains, and until we solve it, we're not going anywhere. And this is forcing together major groups of people that would rather be independent nations of self-determination, by self-determination, and having those nations then try to work out any type of sovereign relationships with other nations. That's what's going to solve the problem. But as long as we're forced to be one Nigeria, that continues to be a problem, and the dysfunction will continue. I place us at the general context of what I'm going to say. The problem with Biafra and the problem with Igbo is being in Nigeria, being forced to be part of Nigeria. Anytime that the Igbo act like Nigerians, and you can take it from me, you can do your research, I don't know that any other group or nation loves Nigeria more than the Igbo. However, that is the major source of their headache. As long as the Igbo want to work out anything as Nigerians in Nigeria, it's not going to work for us. It's not going to work for Biafra, and we will continue to struggle. Now, I'll take you back to the first time we had a civilian president in Nigeria, Obasanjo. I believe that started in 1999. Every 4 years when there was a regime change, there'd be this question of Igbo presidency in Nigeria. They would throw that bone, and the Igbo people will run around with it, get all heady. At the end of the day, nothing is going to happen to it. They just use that to confuse us, to quell agitations, to make us forget for a moment that we're suffering and that we are oppressed, suppressed, subjugated in Nigeria. And then the election season comes in, and they vote for their presidency, and the elections are rigged, and nothing happens. Right after that election, the Igbo will start thinking about the next 4 years. They'll leapfrog everything and start thinking about the next 4 years, and with the same story, Igbo presidency of Nigeria. How many times will Nigeria pull this trick on the Igbo until the Igbo understand that it's really a trick and it's not working? For a people that claim that they're intelligent and that they're wise, it is really appalling that this same type of trick can be played on them again and again. Okay, so recently, this time around, it is said that Obasanjo is behind it. But look, Obasanjo has immediately denied that he said anything. There were some contextual statements that he made, but denied that he's not he's now asking for an Igbo president of Nigeria. I can't tell fellow Igbo and fellow Biafrans what to do. Well, what I know is that anything that they plan to do as Nigerians within Nigeria is not going to work out for us. We've tried that so many times. But they can go on the illusion that they'll come the next time around, that maybe they're going to be made president. We'll see how that works out. What we know from the past is that everybody will be talking about that, but at the end of the day, when the time comes, the vote somehow will manage to go to the other person. It's not going to be an Igbo person. It's going to be the other person in a rigged election usually. And then what will the Igbo do? They will not even protest that. They're now going to start looking at the next 4 years in an ongoing cycle of delusion. Yeah. So what I would advise our people is, we seek Biafra. And in seeking Biafra, we do not make war with Nigeria. We do not make peace with Nigeria. We're just saying we are a people. Let us be. And we can then form our relationships with the rest of Nigeria. We don't wish Nigeria ill. Whatever remains of Nigeria, we can work with them as neighbors, but equal neighbors, sovereign states working with other sovereign states. As far as the Igbo trying to say, okay, we're going to become the president, we're going to make the next president of Nigeria. Good luck with that. It's not going to advance us one iota. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. You've been warned or given advice. I hope you listen. Okay. So do I have another person here? We haven't heard from some people. Yes.
Yes, please.
Brother Madu, go ahead,
Yes,
please.
I really want to play the devil's mailbag this night, because I'm old enough to know that the Igbo has suffered a lot of things in Nigeria. I'm old enough to know that nobody wants the Igbo in Nigeria. I'm old enough to know that anybody who is thinking about the Nigerian presidency has no idea what he's talking about. If you think about this Nigerian presidency, what do you do with the 1999 constitution, which enslaved all of us, all of them? Are you going to work with it as a president of Nigeria? Do you change the constitution before you start? So, to avoid wasting our time and I really saying things that nobody is going, no Igbo man will understand. I think this is personal. I'm not talking about the government. This is personal. My personal idea is that the idea of Igbo presidency should be rejected in totality. All of us should reject it, because it is not going to lead us anywhere. It is, of course, nobody's going to accept it, because the structure there makes it impossible for the Igbo man to be a president. What, like I said initially, what are you going to do with the 1999 constitution? Now, the hatred of Nigerians on Igbos is an open secret. Since 1945, through the war, up to today, we are being killed every day and nobody has moved an inch. Nobody has even complained. And worst of it is that the so-called leaders in our land are so quiet and so happy when they see their sons and daughters being killed. So I I sincerely say that we should reject the 2023 presidential aspiration of of the original Igbo man. We don't need it. Thank you.
Welcome. I see Brother Christian. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. Just very quickly, the position of the government is the issue of Nigerian president of Igbo descent is outside the scope of our struggle. So we don't support it. We are not doing anything about it because it's outside what we are thinking about, outside the objective of the restoration of the independent state of Biafra through a peaceful means, through a referendum plebiscite. Now, on a personal note, excuse me, on a personal note, our people are very short-sighted and our memory is very short. If not, there's a lot of lessons in history that will make them not to go into this. It's an ill wind, and it is like chasing shadows. Now, one question they need to ask themselves, and it's clear, and the facts are there, is if you elect somebody, okay, let's say Peter Obi, Nigerian president tomorrow, he's going to be, those of us in America knows, those of you in America knows this, he's going to be a lame duck president. Because in the National Assembly, the Senate and the House of Reps, the representatives from the East and the West put together are less than the representatives from the North. So how can a president of Igbo descent function without the majority in the House? The North knows this. They play politics more than us. They know this. Jonathan was president for 5 years. He tried to change the constitution, and he's an Igbo man. Good luck, Ebele Jonathan. He tried to change the constitution. He wasted 2 billion naira organizing a national conference that agreed to restructure the nation. He lost the next election. A northern Muslim, Buhari, came in, northern Muslim illiterate came in and took the whole work that the conference did and threw it in the trash can. So, and our people have started again. What type of Igbo president, what type of Nigerian president of Igbo descent do they want? Somebody like Orji Uzakalo. And this is what the North will do. They will just put a criminal there. One of the people that they've been sponsoring, like Chibika Mechi, Orji Uzakalo, or who again? One of the criminal politicians who doesn't know what it means to govern. And they will say, okay, they will use it and tarnish the name of the Igbo. But these people will not listen because they are fighting for their self-interest. All the people talking about Igbo president, the Nigerian president of Igbo descent, are selfish. They don't care about the education of the East, Biafra land, the infrastructural development, the hospitals and health and well-being of our people. They don't care about them because these are the old corrupt politicians who have held our people bondage. So they're the people talking about that. Your Ikekwe Mados, your Orji Uzakalos, your name them. Criminal, those people who should be behind bars, who should be in jail, who are holding the future of our youth and their children unborn hostage. They are billionaires through looting and stealing public funds that are meant for building hospitals and roads and schools. ASU is on strike now. The children are all loitering on the streets. They're not going to school. Somebody, the money that should be used to pay lecturers, somebody has embezzled it and taken it abroad. Those are the people talking about Igbo presidency. And it is outside, we're not talking about it, and we're not interested in anybody talking about that. Thank you.
You're welcome. It is a hot topic. Unfortunately, it's a hot topic and it's captured the imagination of some people, as you have said. Okay, I see another hand up. Brother Ezerora and then Brother Oluchi after.
Yeah, thank you very much, the moderator. This is a very interesting topic, and then a topic that we have to take very serious as it pertains to the present Biafran struggle and the emancipation of our people. They think that if they make an Igbo man president, then automatically everything will be okay for our people. But that would be a very, very big setback on what we are doing, because presently we have a loop-sided constitution, well drafted to suppress our people. If you look at what has been going on for a very long time, you notice that, just like the PM pointed out, everything has been set up to control whoever that gets there, or that whoever becomes the president. Presently, the structure doesn't suit anyone and is not going to benefit any Igbo man. Neither will they allow that Igbo man to function, operate in his full capacity. And moreover, they will think, yes, and if we ever get there, it means that next time we cannot even talk. They will say, okay, we have become the president and all that. And when we are there, we did nothing. But when you make sure that when you get an Igbo man gets there, they will make sure that Igbo man wouldn't function, because they control the army, they control the police, all the security forces. They control it. They have high percentage in everything. There's nothing that they don't control. So what's the president going there to control, except to become a puppet and a stooge? So the Nigerian structure, I think, is kind of controlled by a clique of some ex-army officers that have been controlling Nigeria right from inception. If you look at them, they have been changing baton from one general to the other. And then also, before you get there, they make sure that you are under their thumb. So an Igbo man getting there to become president is not to our advantage. That's my own personal opinion. It's not going to be, in fact, it's a big setback if an Igbo man gets there, because you will notice that Igbo man will never work. Jonathan got there, and then you see he quickly left, because the kind of threat he got. I'm sure he did very well. He performed very well, but the problem he had is that he has to leave office for his own safety. That is why that's what I think that made him not to continue, because he just decided not to fight over whatever that is going on there. But I believe that the present situation in Nigeria does not favor an Igbo man or even the struggle, because if once an Igbo man gets there, they'll think, okay, an Igbo man is now the president of Nigeria. Well, then why are you agitating? Why are you agitating for freedom when your own man is there as a president? So it's not to our own favor, because at the end of the day, when that person leaves office, he will make sure that before again we will see that will be the next 100 years. So that's my own feel, that it's not going to benefit us if an Igbo man gets there as a president, because he's not going to achieve more. They will not allow him to achieve much, because they have the majority in all houses that actually controls that country.
It
Thank
seems
you.
you're welcome. It seems we're all agreed on this. This is not going to work for us. And I hope that our people are listening, and, hopefully they'll stop clamoring for, an Igbo president, who will become a Trojan horse for everything else that they will do. Okay, so let's go to Brother Oluchi, and then after that, Nwa Biafra, and we'll close this conversation. Brother Oluchi, you're on.
Thank you once more, moderator, and for this interesting and also intriguing question about the goings on in the purported 4-year usual jamboree in that contraption called a country. Let me state this clearly. You see, this struggle for freedom has been on, and as people think they know, from 1967, but it predates 1967. Remember, by 1957, 10 years before that time, the Eastern region that became Biafra had asked for self-governance, while their counterpart in the North said no, continuous colonial rule by the British. So, if you like, have 10 Igbo presidents, or as many as you want. It will not stop the struggle for freedom that is at the heart of the Biafran, be it Igbo, Ijaw, Akwa Cross, all of us, people who stand for certain ideals. The critical thing is this: in that geographical entity called Nigeria are two cosmologically opposed views. These are worldview systems. We must take these discussions to the worldview level. Two world systems put in the pressure cooker, and only one stands the chance of coming out alive. That is how bad it is. So any temporary measure of giving you an Igbo president or a president of Igbo extraction or whatever they call it is just a temporary stopgap that will not stop this struggle, this existential struggle at a worldview level between Biafrans who stand for freedom, who stand for absolute and total respect for life, and those who don't understand, who believe more in the capacity in what a cow does than what a human being should do. These are opposing worldviews that you can't change in the next 1,000 years. So the only solution is to attend. We can have some charter of understandings. When we go our ways, it doesn't make us enemies. But we must go our ways to be alive and live our life the way we have always lived this for thousands of years before the British first set foot on our land. So it's just beyond somebody being, cooked up somewhere and dumped with an Igbo name and dumped on the nation, and then they call him an Igbo, you have had your turn. And he stays there and rabble-rouses for 8 years or 4 years, and they kick him out and bring another person that will take their agenda to the next level. And by then, they will tell you have had your turn, and you will never be able to oppose their next move. These are moves they have been making in the last 200 years. And you think they're going to stop it today because they're going to give you 4 years? No. We need to think beyond, the stomach infrastructure or whatever, few people are going to gain when purportedly their brother is made, president. Of course, we can't deny the fact of some Biafrans from our region, the state of Biafra, under occupation by Nigeria, who believe in the Nigerian system and who are interested, in being made president of Nigeria. Well and good for them. Will it stop the agitation? No, not in your life. This agitation has survived since 1970, survived through military interrogums, civil rule. It will still keep on going until, like what happened in United USSR. From 1917 and one day in 1991, everybody went home. In Czechoslovakia, in so many countries of the world, it's not about this temporary, stopgap situation, which is part of the grand old plan called divide and rule. After all, when the British came, it is our people they foisted on us, as rulers. So when the House of Fulani needs to go ahead and foist somebody they call an Igbo president on us, it is not going to stop our agitation, just like the Warren chiefs never stopped our agitation for freedom. Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope people listening will continue to join us in this conversation. I see Brother Nwa Biafra, your hand is up.
Yes, thank you, moderator. And I know I've spoken before, so I'll keep this short. But
Okay.
I want to, again, emphasize what every speaker here has said in this segment. And I want to cap it with what is happening today. Remember, I talked about Obasanjo being the person of note in this situation, where it's now rumored that he endorsed an Igbo for presidency, next presidency, of which he denied. But a reporter, Sunday Wakama, in Punch, for the Punch magazine or newspaper in Nigeria, on 11th March 2022, reported this about President Obasanjo in an article titled, "Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has said Nigerians have not built a nation yet." And I quote some parts. On Wednesday, Obasanjo stated, "One of the things I believe we need in this country is nation building. We have not built a nation. We have a country, but we need to weave and integrate the country into a nation." Let me comment on this part. I'm sorry, Mr. Obasanjo, you don't even have a country. Okay, obviously you don't have a nation and you don't have a country. These are structural problems that we've brought up, especially the last speaker, structural problems that have never been corrected, and inserting an Igbo president there is not going to correct these structures. Now, continuing with the quotation from the same article, he says, Obasanjo again, "We will not get that unless we have justice, fairness, equality, and everybody having a stake in that project called Nigeria." Well, my comment, well, Obasanjo, after all these years you came out to say this? Remember when you fought Biafrans? Remember when you killed Biafrans? When you were president of Nigeria, all you did was to rubbish Biafrans and make them kneel down for you and humiliate them and make them third-class citizens. All of a sudden today, you realize that, oh, we don't have a nation. You claim that we have a country. And you now realize that we need justice, fairness, equality, and everybody having a stake in that project called Nigeria. Excuse me, where were you all these days? Okay, for the Igbo and for the Biafrans, if you get fooled again into thinking that just because they throw that title to you, even if you get it, if you think that's going to solve your problem, it's not solving anybody's problem. You are wasting our time. You are compounding a problem. We know that structurally, Nigeria is not sound. Even Obasanjo himself is now willing to admit that you don't have a nation called Biafra. He claims that you have a country called, that you don't have a nation called Nigeria. There's not a nation. He claims that Nigeria is a country, and we're here to say it's never been a country. It's not even that. if Obasanjo himself can come to this epiphany after all these years of being the arch one Nigerianist, what are you doing still trying to work under an umbrella called Nigeria? It never worked before. It hasn't worked. It will never work. Thank you, Ms. Moderator.
You're welcome. This is it. This is it. Fellow Biafrans, you have heard. We have spent a lot of time with you today, and I hope you are listening. Please join us next time as we continue our conversation, focusing on how to address, how to solve issues that affect all of us. It is our survival. We have to survive together or perish separated. This is a fight that we have to do together as a group. I thank my fellow Biafrans who have joined me this evening. I thank the leadership of the Biafran Provisional Government through BGIE for supporting BCB. And we welcome all voices. We want to assure you that BCB is open to hearing and articulating, creating space for all voices, Biafran at home and in the diaspora. We welcome your comments. Please like us on Facebook and listen to our YouTube programs. My people who are here now with me, please say goodbye to our listeners, and then we will close after this. Let's go. Okay. Are we saying goodbye to our listeners?
Thank you, everyone. And
Thank everyone for listening.
Thank you for tuning in, and please tune in again. We enjoy talking with you and listening to your comments and feedback. Thank you.
This is the fight of our lives. Thank you.
Thank
again,
you.
everybody. Thank you.
Thank you and good night.
We use this opportunity to honor and mourn the passing of our sister, gospel singer Osinachi Nwachukwu, who was internationally known for her hit song, Ekwueme, which she performed with Prosper Ochimana. Sister Osinachi died on Friday at a hospital in Abuja. Rest in peace, Sister Osinachi. Rest in peace. May the ancestors welcome you with grace. Farewell, La Nudo. We send you home with your song, Ekwueme.
This is the Broadcasting Corporation of Biafra. Thank you for listening to us today. Join us next time for news, cultural, and educational programs. This is the Broadcasting Corporation of Biafra, BCB.
You are the living God. Give us the strength